Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to solve multi-step equations that have a variable on one side. We will get more complicated equations as we move forward through this unit, but for right now you'll notice that we have our equal sign and there's only a variable on one side of the equation, not on the other. So here are the steps that we're going to follow when we are solving these types of equations. The first thing we're going to do is look to see if our problem has the distributive property, and if so, we're going to draw the rainbow and multiply. Then we're going to look and see if we have any like terms on the left or right sides that we can box and circle. Then we will zero pair the extra constant to disappear it. Then we will divide our coefficient. We won't be doing multiplying. We'll be dividing our coefficient. And then we'll simplify if our answer is a fraction. And spoiler alert, for these examples, there will not be any fractions. So if we follow our steps, this is a very simple problem. First we're going to do the distributive property. Remember, I told you that if you have parentheses, you will have the distributive property. So you're going to make the rainbow, and then you're going to multiply. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times 4 is 20. And you're going to bring down the equals 40 on the other side. Then you're going to look for like terms, but we don't have any. If you look on the left side, you'll notice you have a variable and a constant, and you know that you can't add variables and constants together. On the right side, you just have one number. So this problem does not have like terms. We're going to look for the extra constant to zero pair. When we say extra, we talk about a constant that's on the same side with the variable, and that would be this 20. We want to get rid of that. And in order to make a positive 20 into a 0, I need to subtract 20. This is called a zero pair, when you have a positive and negative of the same number. The 0 could just be crossed out. We're going to bring down the 5x. And on the right side, we have to do the math. And 40 minus 20 is 20. Finally, we're going to divide our coefficient. What's a coefficient? It is the number that's in front of the variable attached to it. So in this case, our coefficient is 5, and we're going to divide it using a fraction bar. We want to use a fraction bar to show division, not this symbol anymore. 5 divided by 5 is 1. That gives us 1x, which is exactly what we want. On the other side, 20 divided by 5 is 4, and so our answer is that x equals 4. You can write this either way. For number 2, we have a problem that's very similar. Again, with the steps, the first thing you're looking for is the distributive property. And remember to be careful with negatives. Negative 2 times 3y is negative 6y. Negative 2 times negative 7 is positive 14. We don't have like terms. On this side, I have a variable and a constant. I cannot add those, so I don't have any like terms. We'll see some of those in just a moment. We do have the extra constant of this positive 14. So I'm going to subtract it on both sides. Cross out the zero pair. Bring down the negative 6y, and right here we're going to subtract 56 minus 14, and that is 42. Then we're going to divide our coefficient, which is negative 6. When you're dividing, you have to keep the same sign. This is not a zero pair. You make a zero pair when you add or subtract. We are dividing, so we're not doing zero pairs. We are keeping the same number, because negative 6 divided by negative 6 is positive 1, and we want to have a positive 1y at the end. 42 divided by negative 6 is negative 7, and this is your answer. Okay? You should recognize these steps. The students that were in class today had a really easy time with this. You learned this first in 8th grade, so you've seen it for a couple years. Let's do one more like this, and then we'll add one where we do have combining like terms. First thing is distributive property. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times negative 4w is negative 24w. We do not have like terms. I have a constant right here and a variable right here, so no like terms. But I'm going to zero pair this constant. Now, this is a positive 6. Remember that this negative belongs to the 24. There's nothing in front of the 6 which makes it positive. So to zero pair it, I need to subtract it. 6 minus 6 is 0. Bring down your negative 24w. Negative 18 minus 6 is negative 24. When you put this in your calculator, you're going to put negative 18 minus 6. Some students do a double negative right here, and that's not going to give you the right answer, so be careful with that. If you put this into Desmos exactly like this, you'll get the right answer. We're going to divide our coefficient of negative 24. Negative 24 divided by negative 24 is positive 1W, and the answer will be 1. Okay? Now I'm going to show you a problem that has combining like terms, and actually this one does. So if you'll notice, we have our distributive property right here, but we have an extra term, the minus 8. So we're going to multiply this, and we're going to just bring that negative 8 down. Now, I have one variable, but you see I do have two constants, so I can actually combine like terms now. 20 minus 8 is 12. And now I'm right back here to zero pairing. I'm going to minus 12 right here. 8x equals 24. And then I'm going to divide my coefficient. Okay? So we will eventually get to the point where you might have like terms on both sides, but right now you're just going to see them on one side. Let's do one more like that. Actually, I'm going to pick this one. So on this one, our distributive property is with the negative 3, which means the 7 is an extra term and is just going to come down. Negative 3 times 5t is negative 15t, and negative 3 times negative 10 is positive 30. Be careful to always watch out for those negatives. We're going to look for like terms. I have one variable term, but I have two constants, and 7 plus 30 is 37. Zero pair, minus 37 on both sides. Negative 15t equals 30. And then we're going to divide our coefficient. And t equals negative 2. Okay, so in this one we had an extra term, and that's what gave us our extra number that we could combine our like terms. Let me show you one more like this, and I'm going to pick this one. So this guy is interesting because we are not multiplying the 15. Remember that the number has to be right up next to the parentheses, and the 15 isn't. There's a minus sign separating. You can't jump over the minus sign like that. So what do we do instead? We are going to put a 1 here. Remember, if there's no number, you draw in a 1, and we're going to be multiplying negative 1. So the 15 actually is extra and is going to come down. Negative 1 times 4m is negative 4m. Negative 1 times negative 5 is positive 5. Really watch out for these negatives. Now I can combine like terms. I only have one variable, but I have two constants. So I'm going to keep the negative 4m. 15 plus 5 is 20. Now I'm going to zero pair that 20. And then I'm going to divide by my coefficient. M equals negative 3. Okay? I'm going to show you one more that has a small complication in it, but really is not difficult, and that is this one. So when you look at this problem, you see two sets of parentheses. Well, that just means that we're going to do two distributive properties. We're going to do them in the same step. We're just going to go left to right. So 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 4n is 12n. Remember that this is a negative 2. Negative 2 times 5n is negative 10n. Negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6. It is crucial that you get all the positives and negatives right on this first step. If you don't, the whole rest of your problem is going to be wrong. Now this time when we combine like terms, I have two variables and I have two constants. So variables first, 12n minus 10n is 2n. And 3 plus 6 is 9. That would make it positive. We're going to zero pair the 9. And we're going to get 2n equals 16. Divide by 2. Please use the fraction bar. And n is equal to 8. All right? And that is how you solve equations with variables on one side. Please be sure to come to office hours or send me an email if you have any questions about how to do this.